My guests today are writer-director Alexander Saul and producer Rebecca Pruzan and their short film, Snipped. Now, Alexander Saul is a screenwriter and director and has worked on a number of narrative sketches and short films. And in 2020, his first short film, Darling, premiered at the competition at Odense International Film Festival. And then in 2022, he followed up with the short film, Valerie. That same year, he won the first prize in the pitch competition, Pitch Me Baby, at the OFF Awards for his project Lovesick, which in 2024 has been showcased at several international film festivals, earning multiple nominations and awards. Now, Rebecca Pruzan has worked in the media industry her entire professional life. She graduated with a Master's of Science in IT, and Rebecca was employed at DR, and she worked there in numerous positions until 2017. Now, her last position at DR was commissioning editor at DR Ramasjang and DR Ultra. Since then, Rebecca has worked as a consultant and producer and has produced several live action short films, including Ivaloo, for which she was nominated for an Oscar in 2023. And I had the honor to interview filmmaker Anders Walter about that incredible film. Now, Alexander and Rebecca are here today to talk about their new short film, Snipped. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Alexander Saul and Rebecca Pruzan and their short film, Snipped, to the show. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Alexander, Snipped is a very personal story for you. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so Snipped is about a young Jewish convert who's getting circumcised by a Muslim doctor after the 7th of October. And the same thing happened to me. My father is Jewish and my mother is Christian, and I've been doing my conversion. And when I got to the circumcised bit of the conversion, there was no Jewish doctors that could do it because they all retired. So yeah, it's a very personal story, and I did it after the 7th of October. Yeah.
Wow. Now, Rebecca, why did you want to produce Snipped, and what intrigued you about Alexander's story?
Well, actually, Alexander and I were working on another project, and we were on the train. And I asked Alexander, "Why are you not biking?" Because he's always biking. And you blushed a little bit, and which is obviously interesting when someone blushes when you ask them something. And then I said, "Okay, tell me more." And then Alexander told me this that you had to go through the circumcision part of the conversion, and that there wasn't a Jewish doctor, so you had to go to a Muslim clinic in a sketchy part of Copenhagen. And to me, I thought that was a very interesting story, and also a little bit funny. And I thought, in the times we're living in, I think we need humor, and we need to look at other parts of the conflict. I mean, and also look at the people and the personal stories. And I think this is a very personal story, and those are often the best to be told.
I completely agree. Now, Alexander, you just mentioned that you have a Jewish father and a Christian mother. How did you balance both beliefs growing up?
I mean, my we always celebrated all the Jewish holidays and also the Christian actually. So we've just been celebrating both, and I just felt mostly connected to the Jewish holidays and the Jewish religion. So that's why I made a decision as a grown up to convert. And I mean, in the Christian religion, you get the religion from your father, and in the Jewish one, you get it from your mother. So I actually was none when born. Yeah, so I got the opportunity to choose between them in some
Okay,
sense.
explain this for me. Um, okay, so your father's Jewish. Um,
Mm.
if both your parents were Jewish, and then when you were born, would that make you automatically Jewish, or did you have to go through the whole process before uh, being known as Jewish?
I mean, if my mother was Jewish alone, that would have been enough. Then I didn't have to convert. Actually, yeah.
I never knew that. And one thing about film, film is a learning process, but it's a subject matter that helps to increase our knowledge. So I appreciate you explaining that to me. Now, what I loved about this film, Snipped, is that it's multicultural. It's Jewish, it's Muslim, it's Palestinian, it's Christian. How important was it to balance the beliefs and a bit of tension in the storyline?
I think it was very important. Like, I think since the 7th of October, there's been this kind of paranoia when you're being Jewish or Muslim because of the conflict, especially in Europe. And we have always coexisted. A couple of years ago, the Muslims was circumcised by the Jewish doctor, and now there's no Jewish doctor. The Jews are circumcised by the Muslim doctor, and I think it's an incredible arena to talk about coexistence because it's two religions that are both minorities in Europe, and they are somehow, uh, in many ways, connected, not only by circumcision but by many traditions, and like then the need of each other's help somehow to fulfill their religious lives. So I think when talking about coexistence, it's like the perfect arena. Yeah.
Yeah, and what makes this film so interesting? We have one part where there's the element of coexistence. You use the subject matter of circumcision to bring forth this element of coexistence. And what I loved about this film was you were able to interject enough humor for us, for the audience to actually understand that if we take time to listen, if we take time to reach out, we really can tear down the walls of our differences, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, we've been talking a lot about like how like humor breaks down barriers somehow. So it was such an important thing for us from the beginning when we started writing, and Rebecca was giving feedback and such, that there was this humor element at all times through the film. Yeah.
Well, even with, and even if you took the humor out of this short film, it would have been a very serious short film. I love the element of humor. And Rebecca, for you, how much humor uh, did you want Alexander to project within this subject matter to get the point across, but at the same time balance out what I just said about having the tension in the film, but lighten the load a bit?
Well, I mean, from the very beginning, when you told me your experience, I started laughing. When we talked with the actors and actresses, they laughed. And it's, I think in these times right now, there's so much, I mean, all the media, it's all conflict and, it's pretty hard times right now. And I think it was just such a relief for all of us being able to cover such important subject matter, but with warmth and being able to, making the audience feel okay laughing about it. We just had a screening of the film a few days ago in Copenhagen for the cast and crew and friends and relatives, and I loved that the whole room was full of people laughing, and you could feel in the beginning people were like not sure because right now it's such a sensitive subject matter. I mean, Muslim Jew, it's filled of, it's such a big conflict. And it was just, you can just tell people came up and they said it was so rewarding that they could laugh together and not feel bad about it. So yeah, to me, I think this is just what we need right now, being able to laugh together, and hopefully it also opens it. It has the thing, it can open up our minds and our hearts, and maybe talk to each other and not at each other, and hopefully reach some a little bit more of understanding from the differences between us and the
Yeah,
similarity.
I
Mm.
completely agree. Now, kind of give me a bit of modern history with Denmark, for example. Um, does Denmark have very tough immigration laws?
Now they do, yes. Yeah, I would say.
Extremely, I mean, very, very tough.
Yeah.
We used to be very open and very liberal, and we're very welcoming, like the States. But now, not at all. Not at all.
So you have very tough laws there now.
Yeah.
Mm.
But we have a lot of, I mean, we in the 70s, we had, we needed workers. I mean, there was so much unemployment. No, the opposite. I mean, we needed a workforce, so we opened
Mm.
the borders completely and invited people from all parts of mostly Europe, but other parts of Europe, and a lot of Muslim people came in from Turkey and other countries at that time, and they came in, and I don't think that they came in and they were welcome, but we didn't really have much focus on how to integrate them in the society. So, and we've had a Jewish populations always had a strong Jewish
Since the Viking times.
yeah, but the Jewish population have always been, it's been very integrated in the Danish society, and it hasn't really been, it's been a very beautiful coexistence without much issues. And the same with the Muslims. I think when they came, it's been a little bit more of a little bit more complex with the Muslim population, and but I think that we have a history of coexistence in Denmark, and I don't think that what we experience right now really is true to how we have been living for the last many years. And I think it's the same with Norway, and I mean all of Scandinavian has a good history of coexistence, I think.
And also, like, I think it's like the media and like the social media is like all these algorithm is like totally polarizing the relationship between the two religions. It's making it very difficult to, I mean, they always talk about how different we are instead of all the similarities, which creates a lot of conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, because it's the media preventing peaceful coexistence among many of the cultures around the world. And then you bring up a very valid point about social media, because social media has been creating this conflict and making it very polarizing. I want to ask you something, though, because since October 7th of last year, is that when the Jewish doctors went into hiding in Denmark and stopped doing the circumcisions?
No, not really. They just retired. Like, there's not many Jews in Denmark or in Scandinavia in general. So I just think there's no Jews that are educated
So
circumcision doctors at the moment.
so there's a very good job opportunity if someone would want to live in Denmark
Yeah.
and perform the Jewish circumcisions. There's a good job opportunity right now.
So at the moment, like Jews go to a Muslim doctor who does the surgery, and then the rabbi comes and does the blessing, which is just for me a beautiful image. Yeah.
No, well, okay. In the film, um, was it Adam's father that was actually a rabbi?
No, that was just Adam's father. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
one of my favorite scenes in this film is when Adam tells the Muslim doctor that he's converting to Judaism, but it was the doctor's reply that actually bridged the gap of coexistence. Explain that scene for me.
So I think that we saw a lot of like potential for the doctor to have this kind of like upper hand. He sees right through Adam being paranoid, and he wants to what do you say, fool around with him, um, put the joke on him because of his paranoia and all these like presumptions about being at this clinic. Yeah, so just I feel like, again, like humor breaks down barriers. I think that's like the same motivation the doctor has, like making a bit of fun of him. Yeah.
Yeah, because I love that scene, because the audience, we feel Adam's tension. And,
Mm.
you know, for the most part here in America, circumcision happens 8 days after the birth of a child.
Mm.
It's kind of an automatic thing now. Uh, But when a grown man goes in for it, it's a whole different situation. And to see Adam's maybe a little bit of apprehension, a little bit of fear, there's that tension there. And then to see the Muslim doctor actually make a joke to kind of lighten the load a bit, and to see Adam's response to that joke, he didn't really know what to say at that point, did he?
Det kommer nok tilbage lige om lidt.
Can you hear me?
Oh, we lost you, but now you're back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, no. What I loved about that scene with Adam and the Muslim doctor is that you brought in the tension, Adam's apprehension to the procedure, and just having the doctor make a joke about it really lessened that tension. And of course, it made the whole scene funny. And so, how long? I mean, and to me, when I saw this film, you covered a lot of elements when it comes to coexisting. So how long did it take you to fully write the script?
I think I was writing for about 3 months, from November to February, and got a lot of feedback from Rebecca and Kim. And also we had a political consultant helping out with especially the Muslim part of the story. There was a lot of facts I had to like get straightened out, and yeah, so 3 months we used writing this short film. Yeah,
I would say the whole process has been pretty fast, and all. I mean, we've been able to. The story has sold itself, so to speak. So all the. I mean, we've been able to, in my mind, get the best cast, the best crew that you could possibly imagine, and it's a short film, and without pay. People really wanted to support the story, so it's been very easy to get people to say yes. The story sold itself very easy, so it's been a very fast process.
So yeah, I mean, it's a very easy film to pitch somehow. Yeah. Like people get it straight away. Like they see the conflict, they see the humor, they see like the story, kind of. Yeah.
Well, so how did you come to cast the film?
I have worked with the main character, Louis Bodney Anderson, before on the same. We made that film together. It was called Lovesick, and he was not the main character, but he has this sense of comic timing and sensibility. He was just lovely to work with, and I wanted to work with him again. So he was a pretty easy one to cast, and the rest we just talked through different actors and was like. This is maybe a long shot with Nicolas Bro, but he was the first one we thought of.
Nicolas Bro is one of the best actors in Denmark, and he's an absolute star. And so approaching him with a short film was a long shot, but with the same, he really loved the story. And I think the two of them worked so well together that they became father and son on set, which was, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And the same with Elaha was also the nurse. She was also in Lovesick, and but everyone just said yes straight. I mean, it's just been a very It's been a very easy casting process because people have just been really open and interested. So it's been good.
Well, there's a couple of scenes in this film, and it's not in the doctor's office. It's actually in, I guess, the cab ride or the Uber, and where Adam has the Star of David publicly seen. He's wearing the necklace. His father brings it up. I've seen other films in the last couple of years about hiding the Star of David in public. How concerning is that actually? Because I don't see Christians hiding their crosses.
I mean, I always wear Star of David, and sometimes I hide it, sometimes I don't. I mean, if I feel tired, I hide it, just to not be confronted with it. And I mean, you can wear it without being scared, I believe in, but still some people comment on it. Or I mean, yeah, it's I got mixed feelings about it, but I always wear mine, and yeah, I usually don't take it off. I mean,
I think a lot of people would call you, what is it that he said his father tells him he's
maybe I'm naive.
yeah. I mean, now we have in the main synagogue in Copenhagen, they built like a glass wall with some art on it. So there is a space between you leaving the synagogue and you exiting on the street where the men can take off the kippah, their hat. So because you have to wear it in the synagogue for respect. But I mean, normally you would see Friday late afternoon, when people would exit the synagogue after, at Shabbat, the street would be full of men wearing kippahs. Now, no one, because they take them off because they're afraid of wearing them in public. I think that's an extremely sad development. So I think that you do wear your Star of David. I've told you sometimes where I think you should where I think you should cover it up at certain situations. To me, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish or Muslim or Christian or whatever, you should feel free and proud to wear whatever it is that you're wearing. But the way the situation is right now, it's not, people don't feel safe wearing it in the streets in Denmark anymore. And I think that's very sad.
Yeah, it is sad, and I do agree. I guess it just comes down to the fact that we have to use wisdom in certain circumstances. And Alexander, the two scenes with the cab or the Uber drivers, did that really happen to you?
No, my father drove me. Yeah. So that was just an add-on. So the first taxi driver he's a Jewish taxi driver
In reality.
And is the one my grandpa always used when going to shul. So they have a very what do you call it? A safe relationship somehow. So he feels very safe when driving with this driver. So I felt it was kind of symbolic to use him in the film, even though he is a non-actor, but he's a professional somehow. And yeah, I just thought it was a good way to like start and end the story in the same way, kind of. With
Well,
these two texts.
yeah, because with the second cab, so Adam and his father are leaving, and I guess they're going back home. But there's that scene where I guess he was bleeding through the bandages, and Adam got really, really nervous. Why would he get nervous in that scene?
I think the funny thing about it is that when I was circumcised, I also bled through, and I thought something had gone wrong, but it's completely normal. I mean, So I think he was nervous that something had gone wrong, and the father was nervous that he was going to bleed on the seats.
And there's also the whole, it's the taxi driver is a Muslim taxi driver, so there's also that fear of showing the taxi driver what had happened, and then it's just such a relief that the taxi driver reacts the way he does with a big grin, and that he's gone through the same thing at the same doctor, and so that's also like the whole tension and fear and confusion, and then the taxi driver reacts with a total opposite of what they're expecting, with a big grin.
And see, that's what elevates this film, because I noticed that with every interaction that Adam had, the interactions were actually positive. There was not one negative reaction at all in this film, which then makes the point that if we try, we can coexist, and it comes down to respecting one another, listening to one another, and not forcing our own personal views into the conversation. Because in reality, we don't need to bring forth our personal views, because personal views today come across as more political and not where most people should ask a question so they can learn something, not dictate their beliefs on someone else. So I think this film has become very powerful because every scene had a positivity to it. You agree?
Completely. Yeah. I love that observation. Yeah.
You're very welcome for that because I've watched this film a few times because it was just so good to watch. But what has been the reaction to the film at other film festivals?
Well, we've only had one so far. We've only had the pleasure of showing it during. It was at Holly Shores Film Festival, and we have very little finances, so we weren't able to go, all of us. But my husband, who's also a producer on the film, Kim Magnuson, he went and was in the audience, and he called us right after the viewing, and he said, "This is fantastic," because people were just cracking up. And I think it's that sense of not, you're afraid that you're doing some, that feeling when you're watching something and you're not sure if you're allowed to actually laugh. And then everyone's laughing, and it just feels really good. And I think that was the experience in California. And that was the same experience we had in Copenhagen 2 days ago. And now we're having a really good festival run now. It's been accepted to numerous festivals, and we can't wait to see how people will perceive and react to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure all of the reactions to this film are going to be very, very positive. And what would you hope for the audiences when they do see this film? What would you like for them to take from it?
I mean, I really hope it starts a conversation about coexistence. I hope it starts a conversation about building bridges instead of walls. And I hope that when we're done showing it at festivals, we can show it at synagogues, we can show it at mosques, we can show it everywhere that cultures meet. For educational purposes, we've been talking a lot about. And like, I think it has a message that is important in many parts of the world. And yeah, so I hope it can start a conversation and somehow work against the polarization that the media is at this moment making. Yeah.
I also think there's so much prejudice from both sides. So I think it can also be like holding a mirror to ourselves, because we all have prejudice. We all, have. It's very hard not to have that. And I think hopefully this can be a mirror to ourselves about the prejudice we walk around with, that maybe, just think it through an extra time before you react or say something.
Mm.
I think this film should be shown at the United Nations. It's funny, but at the same time, what I love about this film, Snipped, is you took a complex subject matter and you simplified it with humor. The other thing that you did so well, I should say, one of the other thing that you did so brilliantly in this film is that you kept the politics completely out of the film. You made this a personal story. Every interaction with Adam was personal. No political overtone whatsoever, because the audience is focused on Adam and what he's about to go through. So, as men, we're looking at Adam thinking, "Oh man, I wouldn't want to do that, as an adult." So, we feel a little bit of that apprehension and fear. But you literally did not put anything political in this film, and that's what makes this film so fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
So is Snipped going to be going through the film festival circuit into 2026?
Yes, since I mean we finished it just before the summer, so in June, so we just started sending it out during the summer, and we're also gonna try to see if go for an Oscar run. It's going to be, hopefully we're trying to get it shortlisted, and we'll see what happens with that. But for us, I mean, the main thing is just getting it out and getting it, out as broad as possible. And of course, the Oscars is the ultimate, scene for that. If you are lucky enough to go all the way, you don't have it's the best distribution you would possibly be able to get. So that would of course be the ultimate goal. But I mean, we're sending it out to all festivals, and we're just hoping that it will be able to travel the world, because we think that the story is a story worth listening to all over the world right now. So yeah, we'll see
It
what
it
happens.
it is the
Yeah.
perfect story. Now, are you looking at the possibility of an Oscar campaign run for up to the 2026 Academy Awards or the 2027 Academy Awards?
26. It's so, I mean, it would probably be more, it would might be better and more like strategic to wait, but the story is just so relevant now. I mean, I mean, the world is crazy right now. Things can happen. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, but as it is right now, I couldn't imagine a story that's more relevant to be told right now. So we had originally thought about waiting and giving it a festival run and taking it easy, but now it's so relevant now. So why
It
wait?
is. I completely agree. I completely agree. And I've seen a lot of short films this year that they're writing they're writing a very fine line of being social impact and a bit political. Your film doesn't do that. And that's what I love about this film. Everybody will watch it. They will get the message very, very quickly, but they're going to enjoy the film at the same time. It's just like Kim said at Holly Shorts. People were laughing where the laughter was supposed to come in, and that's the type of films we need in this day and age. But because of the message of coexisting, and due to the conflicts around the world, this is a very timely film. And again, I absolutely love it. And ladies and gentlemen, Snipped is a film that is not just about circumcision, it's much larger than that. So, peeling back the skin of society and seeing who we truly are as people, Snipped uses the power of humor and teaches us that we still have cultural and religious divides. Can we as a society, can we reach the point of coexisting without judging or hating each other? Well, in Snipped, the power lies in the listening to the dialogue. And just in real life, it's the power of listening that opens doors to reconciliation, and we find we all want the same thing: acceptance of both identity and the world in which we come from. Now, I loved Snipped so much, I watched it multiple times, and the story is on point in this day and age. And I want to thank you, Alexander and Rebecca, for sharing your incredible film with me today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. I
You're
want to
very,
say
very... Go ahead.
to everything you're saying, amen.
Amen.
I love that. And we could definitely end this with amen. And ladies and gentlemen, when Snipped comes to a film festival near you, make sure that you are sitting in the audience. You're going to see a film. Well, it's going to make you laugh. It's going to warm your heart, but it should definitely open your eyes to the reality that we can live together as long as we listen and respect one another. And ladies and gentlemen, you can catch all of the Bond on Cinema interviews at bondoncinema.com. Check out our Prime show, our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on your way to work on Spotify, iTunes, Audible, and more. And remember, you're either going to see me at the movies or on the red carpet.